Hari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Bhagavācharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Bhagavācharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Charya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON Guru Vrinda Ki Jai. Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dhamma Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dhamma Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dhamma Ki Jai. Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Ganga Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Sankirtan Jagnati Ki Jai. Vihatmadanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. The Transcendental Lordship Shri Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Madhava Astasaki Ki Jai. Shri Shri Prahlad Nishinga Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Samaveda Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, Chapter 7. Chapter is entitled Scheduled Incarnations, and today's text is 21. Dhanvantariś bhagavān svayam kīrtir. Nāmnā nṛṇāṁ puru-rujāṁ ruja hanti. Yajñe bhagavān amṛtāyur-avāvarundha. āyuṣya-vedam anuśāsty avatīrya loke. Dhanvantariś bhagavān svayam kīrtir. nāmnā nṛṇāṁ puru-rujāṁ ruja hanti. Yajñe bhagavān amṛtāyur-avāvarundha. āyuṣya-vedam avatīrya loke. Dhanvantariś bhagavān svayam kīrtir. nāmnā nṛṇāṁ puru-rujāṁ ruja hanti. Yajñe bhagavān amṛtāyur-avāvarundha. āyuṣya-vedam avatīrya loke. Please chant. Vaishnavis? Nobody? Dhanvantariś bhagavān svayam kīrtir. Dhanvantari, the incarnation of God, named Dhanvantari. Cha, and bhagavān, the personality of Godhead. Svayam, personally himself. Kīrtiḥ, fame personified. Nāmnā, by the name. nṛṇāṁ, puru-rujāṁ, of the diseased living entities. Ruja, diseases. Āyuṣya, very soon. Hanti, cures. Yajñe, in the sacrifice. Cha, also. Bhagam, share. Amṛta, nectar. Āyuḥ, duration of life. Ava, from. Avatīrya, obtains. āyuṣya, of duration of life. Vedam, knowledge. anuśāsty, directs. Avatīrya, incarnating. Loke, in the universe. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord in His incarnation, a little too loud. The Lord in His incarnation of Dhanvantari very quickly cures the diseases of the ever-diseased living entities, simply by His fame personified. And only because of Him do the demigods achieve long lives. Thus the personality of Godhead becomes ever glorified. He also exacted a share from the sacrifices, and it is He who inaugurated the medical science or the knowledge of medicine in the universe. Purport. As stated in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, everything emanates from the ultimate source of the personality of Godhead. It is therefore understood in this verse that medical science or knowledge in medicine was also inaugurated by the personality of Godhead in His incarnation, Dhanvantari. And thus, the knowledge is recorded in the Vedas. The Vedas are the source of all knowledge, and thus knowledge in medical science is also there for the perfect cure of the diseases of the living entities. The embodied living entity is diseased by the very construction of his body. The body is the symbol of diseases. The disease may differ from one variety to another, but disease must be there just as there is birth and death for everybody, for everyone. So by the grace of the personality of Godhead, not only are diseases of the body and mind cured, but also the soul is relieved of the constant repetition of birth and death. The name of the Lord is also Bhagavān, or the source of curing the disease of material existence. The Lord in His incarnation of Dhanvantari very quickly cures the diseases of the ever-diseased living entities, simply by his fame personified. And only because of him do the demigods achieve long lives. Thus the personality of Godhead becomes ever glorified. He also exacted a share from the sacrifices, and it is he only who inaugurated the medical science or the knowledge of the medicine in the universe. Om Ganatimarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Umlitam Gena Taishmai Shri Gurave Namaha. On a morning walk, excuse me, in 1975, Srila Prabhupada, Dhananjaya was with him, and they were having a conversation. And Prabhupada made an interesting point that you can allow to go deep within your hearts. Prabhupada said, health first, sadhana second, service third. Oftentimes, it's the other way around. Service first, sadhana second, health last. Don't worry about health. So, you're probably wondering why Srila Prabhupada placed such an emphasis on health. So we'll delve into this later in the class, but I want to start out by setting the scene and getting oriented in this question and answers paradigm that pervades the Bhagavatam. Okay, so we're going to test you to see how sharp you are, okay? So stay awake now. This chapter is a response to one of the 6 questions by the sages of Naimisharanya. Anybody know which question? I got all kinds of burfi lined up for you, if you get this one right. Anybody know? Yes, Prabhu? So okay, the fan is on. I was racing out the door. I forgot my hearing aids. So you're going to have to speak really loudly.
What's the main goal of life?
Tell me please about the incarnations of the Supreme Lord.
Yes, this is it's all about the incarnations of the Lord. Okay, so this is described in great detail in this chapter. This is the 7th chapter of the 2nd canto. I want to ask a question. Where else is this described? Anybody? It's also, the answer is given very succinctly in 2 locations in the Bhagavatam. Anybody know? Okay.
I think Vidura is...
Give me the chapter number, okay?
3rd canto and chapter... It's in the beginning, maybe
1st
10.
canto?
No, 3rd canto.
Okay, you got the answer?
Yeah.
Oh, here leave it.
2nd canto, 5th chapter.
What, 2nd canto what?
2nd canto, 5th chapter.
Okay, but where there's, where they're all listed out, okay? I mean, throughout the Bhagavatam, there's discussions about, the transcendental incarnations of the Lord. But in particular, okay. 1st canto, 10th chapter?
Yes, the manifestation of the avatar,
Okay, American English now, no Italian English.
the appearance of the avatar. I think there is a chapter in the 1st canto.
1st canto, yeah. Okay, so where? Which chapter? Nope. Okay,
Third.
Over here. She knows. Very intelligent Vaishnavi.
The list of incarnations was mentioned in the 1st canto, 3rd chapter.
Which chapter?
Third.
Third chapter. That's right. You said third? I couldn't hear. It sounded like 10th to me. Remember, I left my hearing aids at home. Okay, so there's a, in the 10th chapter, didn't you say 10th chapter? Third. Oh, that's Italian English. Okay, it sounded really like 10 to me. Okay, all right. Krishna loves you, don't worry. Okay, so also, this is one of the 10 subject matters of the Bhagavatam, which is in the first verse of the 10th chapter of the second canto. Okay, and Isha Anukata. Okay, these are the science of God and the avatars and his pure devotees. Okay, one more question. We're just trying to exercise your brains today, okay? Why does Lord Brahma relate stories of the Lord's avatars to Narada? Now, Lord Brahma gives a reason for that. It's a tough question, okay? We have a whole tractor load of burfi if you get this one right, okay? Not an easy one. Everybody give up? Okay, so he says, O Narada, I now shall state one after another the transcendental incarnations of the Lord known as Lila avatars. Hearing, I think the first 25 shlokas in the second canto of this. This is the last verse of the 6th chapter. Okay, so then he goes on to say, hearing of their activities counteracts the foul matter accumulated in the ears. Anybody got dirty ears? These pastimes are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart. Now, does that remind you of another really famous verse that a lot of devotees say before they start giving the Bhagavatam class? Did everybody sleep well last night? It seems like. Okay, so American English now. Yeah, that's it. Okay, do the whole thing. We want to make sure you got it. And then the Italian translation, the English translation? No? By regular attendance in the classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart, and also the dirt in the ears, is completely destroyed. And loving service unto the glorious Lord, unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Okay, so let's get back to health, okay? We want you to put that as your #1 priority from now on. Okay, so this is my mission for the day. Let's see how I do. You can rate me at the end of the class, all right? Prabhupada, he starts his purport by saying that in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, that everything emanates from the ultimate source of the personality of Godhead. Anybody got a reference for that one? How about Janmadyashayataha? Okay, so he's a primeval cause of creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. So then Prabhupada goes on in the purport, after he says that everything emanates from Krishna, and he goes on to say that It's therefore understood in this verse that medical science, or knowledge of medicine, was also inaugurated by the Personality of Godhead in his incarnation of Dhanvantari. And thus, this knowledge is recorded in the Vedas. And the Vedas are the source of all knowledge. Okay, so Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto matashmitir gyanom apohanam cha āyuṣya savayam aham eva vedyo vedantavid vedvid eva chaham. So Krishna, he situated in everyone's heart. Kadasi Nath, it's in your heart. And he's telling you tomorrow you should go on the japa walk, okay? No excuses will be accepted. Okay. Excuse me. And from me comes remembrance and knowledge and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas am I to be known. Indeed, I'm the compiler of the Vedas and I'm the knower of the Vedas. All right, so Prabhupada in the purport makes a point that's very relevant to today's class. I'll preface this with a couple sentences. This is from the Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Okay, no burfi for you two today, you're late. This is not India time that we run here. Okay, so the Lord, this is from the purport of 15:15. The Lord in his incarnation of Dhanvantari very quickly cures the diseases of the ever-diseased living entities simply by his fame personified. Anybody here diseased? Please raise your hand if you're diseased. Anybody not diseased? Nobody? You're not diseased? Okay. Don't worry, it's coming, Bubba. Okay. Is your name Hanuman? No. You look like Hanuman. Okay. There's another young Vaishnava that came to me yesterday and said, where do you live? Where do you stay? And he wanted some water. And is your brother's name Hanuman? No? Okay, sorry. Forgive my offenses. Okay, so this is an interesting point. This Prabhupada makes the point that, let's see. This is the translation. The Lord in his incarnation of Dhanvantari very quickly cures the diseases of everybody except you, Prabhu. You don't have any diseases, so you don't get cured, okay? But everybody else has diseases. The Lord in his incarnation of Dhanvantari very quickly cures the diseases of every diseased living entity simply by his fame personified. That's a unique statement. How does he cure yajñe's diseases? Because he's fame personified. Is everybody sufficiently bewildered? Okay, so we'll come up with the answer, hopefully. Okay, so why in Vedic culture does everyone very, very strictly follow the instructions of the Vedas, of Krishna, of Krishna's pure devotees? Why? Because they have so much respect for them. Now, whenever I tell Ekadasi Nath what to do, he doesn't do it because he doesn't respect me. No, I'm only joking, okay? But if we have deep respect, if we have love for personality, then we're going to do what he says. Okay? Does that make sense? So he's, you know, Dhanvantari is famous. He's the personification of fame. one of Krishna's incarnations. He's empowered. He's empowered to help all of you diseased living entities. That by your very the construction of your body, you're diseased. Okay? So Lord Dhanvantari, so that's Vedic culture. And that's how we get cured. Because if you strictly follow the Vedas, then you get amazing results. Guess what, folks? I've been doing Ayurvedic treatment since 2007, and I'm still doing it. That's why everyone thinks I'm 50 years old. Don't tell Ajangsa, don't tell anybody how old I really am. We went to the Yoga Pit yesterday, and this one pujari that takes the donations and announces, Janmastami Das just gave. You've been there and done that? And so then I got some, maha from him. And then later on he said, how old are you? And I said, what do you think? And he said, 80? I'm close. Anyway, I won't reveal. This is confidential information. All right, so then let's move ahead here. So why have I kept going with Ayurvedic treatment? I had some rascal Ayurvedic doctors, that didn't do much to help me. The first one I went to, he was with a government hospital down in Karnataka. And he was a chain smoker. So he wasn't exactly nimitta bhava savya sachin. He wasn't a very good instrument in the Lord's hands. But anyway, it was cheap, the treatment. Anyway, it got me started, but then I realized that there were others that were more elevated and more empowered to help. So because I got results, then I kept going with it, right? So that's the nature of how Krishna arranges things. He comes as a yuga avatar or Chaitanya. You chant Hare Krishna and you're happy, right? I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but I have a friend who's an Ayurvedic doctor in America, and he actually works for the Veterans Administration. These are people that got shot to hell in the Gulf War and in Vietnam, and he's also an Ayurvedic doctor. Now he did evidence-based research on the efficacy of chanting Hare Krishna. That was published in a major medical journal, that by chanting Hare Krishna, you reduce stress levels. Does that sound all right? Anybody want to chant Hare Krishna here? Okay, you're on. And the better quality of the japa, the less stress, the more we have peace of mind. Okay? So anyway, I was going to use that later on, but I just a little impetuous here. Now, here's another personal question. You can meditate on this one. Have you ever noticed a change in the quality of your sadhana practices when your health is not good? Yeah? Is it possible to have good sadhana practices? I have done it before. Okay, I can tell you a story sometime. Maybe I won't tell it in this class because there's a lot to cover. And he's right here, and he's going to hit me on the head if I go past 9 o'clock. He's the boss. You'll have to forgive my American humor, okay? I just try my best to make sure no one falls asleep. Okay, so it's I've been on this. I went to Govardhan Eco Village like about 3.5 years ago. I spent like 6 months there. No, 3 months. and they put me on a diet that makes most devotees faint. They said, Janmastami, how can you possibly do this? Because it's everything that most devotees are eating all the time, up to here, I can't eat, according to the prohibitions that the nutritionist on the Ayurvedic team there at Govardhan Eco Village prescribed. But, I'm going on, I'm getting good results from the austerities, and I haven't starved to death yet. And so Ayurvedic doctors, generally they put a pretty high priority on you are what you eat, right? So if you're eating properly, then health's going to be good. Now, it's not just Lord Dhanvantari that puts a high emphasis on this, but also Krishna does. Anybody have some clues on where Krishna speaks about the importance of diet and eating the proper amount? Okay, we got a couple of smart guys over here. They got their brains back after being late. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yuktahara viharasya chetas darpada. Yeah. So from that he says...
How did you learn that?
Through you. Yes, because of you.
That was on the Japa walk. We covered that. I sent out the slides.
Yes.
Okay. There's more to it though than that. There's two verses right together, 6:16 and 6:17. Natyasnatastu yogosti nachaikantan anashnata nachati sratna shilasya jagato naivacharjuna. Oh Arjuna, one can't be a yogi if he eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much, or does not sleep enough. Okay, so is everybody here a yogi or a yogini? Please raise your hand. Or you're trying your best? Okay, so this is a big portion of that. It's we should actually do evidence-based research on what causes the Srimad Bhagavatam class to be ISKCON's sleeping pill. And more than likely, we'll come to an understanding that it's a result of eating a huge meal just before going to sleep at night, right? And according to Āyuḥ-vedam, that creates which is the foundational substances in the body for disease. Of course, we're already diseased, so what difference does it make, okay? This is kind of the mindset of the materialist. Doesn't matter what I do. If I get sick, I just go to the doctor, get a pill, and that's it. I'm taken care of. I can do whatever I want as long as I can enjoy my senses. That's the purpose of life, right? Okay, so that's not what we do as devotees, right? Yehi samsparshaja boga dukkha yonaya evate adyanta vantakanteya nanteshu ramate buddha. Translation, anybody? An intelligent person, he doesn't get involved with the sources of misery, which are caused by contact of the senses, right? Such pleasures have a beginning and an end, so the wise man does not delight in them, okay? So devotee, and then it goes into, okay, so in terms of diet, there's more in the 17th chapter of Gita. Jumping ahead a little bit. Text 8, 9, and 10. Okay, foods dear to those in the mode of goodness bring you closer to death. No. I'm just making sure everyone's awake. It increases the duration of life. Okay? Purify one's existence and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Mahaprasade Govinjay Namo Brahmani Vaishnave. Come on, bring it in. What happened to him? I paid this guy to come in with a huge feast, and he didn't show up. Maybe he's on India time or something, huh? Okay, so then text 9, foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. Does that sound a little bit like the typical ISKCON devotee diet? Or maybe in India? Give me more of that chili. I need it. Okay, so anyway, just word of warning, be careful. I won't read about those in the mode of ignorance. Well, maybe I will. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. Prabhupada makes an exception to prasadam, okay? Food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. So we won't worry about that one so much. Okay. So, natyasnatastu yogosti. When I joined the movement, one of the first things I was taught in the new Bhakta program, it was the 3 burp formula. Anybody know the 3 burp formula? Okay, she's been around a while. She knows things like that. You want to tell us? I can tell if you don't want to.
Well, I'll tell where I heard it from. I heard it from an Ayurvedic doctor in Vrindavan.
Oh, okay.
When the first burp comes, that means you've eaten just enough for the body to function.
And then you're a yogi, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then when the second burp comes, you are guilty of breaking the scriptural injunction that we should only eat as much as necessary.
Okay, so then you're a bogey. Okay?
And then when the third burp comes, that means you are inviting disease.
And then you're a rogi. Okay?
Right.
So, those are the actual Sanskrit words.
But he did say that if the first burp comes, like 3 burps in quick succession, count as 1.
Okay, hey, thank you for telling me that, all right? So I can keep going now. All right. But one thing that we used to do, also there was a formula that was given. I didn't hear this from the Ayurvedic doctor. I heard it from my new Bhakta leader. And that's that the first thing you should do, okay, put 1/4 of your belly with liquid, okay? So drink a couple glasses of water. And then it's half with solid foods, and then the last quarter with air. And you can determine how much air is there about how many times you burp. Okay? Everyone got it? We want you to be very healthy now, okay? Because Krishna has amazing plans for each one of you. But if you're sick all the time, what can you do? All right. So then let's move on to what Mayuresh brought up. This is a sequel to 6:16. This is 6:17. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshta sakarmasu yukta swapno vibodasya yogo bhavati dukkha. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pangs by practicing the yoga system. Regulated in habits of eating, sleeping, recreation. Does recreation mean you go on your computer and watch a movie? a Bollywood movie? Is that what recreation means? Does that mean going and playing ping pong somewhere or soccer? Okay, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that recreation is walking. So therefore, Ekadasi Nath, you better be on that walk tomorrow. You may not be regulated in your recreation. So there's actually very important considerations. And this is, when I went to the first bona fide Ayurvedic doctor, this is in Udupi, and over 700 devotees had already gone to him, including Shivaram Swami, Naranjana Swami, Jayadvaita Swami, Satyanarayana Swami. And one of the first things he had me do was implement in my life an hour or 2 hours of low-intensity exercise, like walking, okay? And then he also, he had me implement 15 minutes of high-intensity exercise, where my heart would start beating rapidly and I'd sweat, and so I bought a jump rope, okay? But you can also go on Ganga Snan or... So then, I actually started doing every day, I would do a Panchakrosha Parikrama. Are you doing that, Prabhu? Okay, tomorrow you come on a japa walk, okay? No excuses, all right? You've got a lot to give to this movement. All right, so it's actually really good for us. Prabhupada, he went on a morning walk every single day. And actually, Srila Prabhupada goes on the morning walks with us every day because we're strictly following his Vani. Yeah, Prabhupada, shortly after he had started the movement, he'd gotten things going in New York. Then he went to San Francisco, came back into New York, and he had a stroke. And they took Prabhupada to a doctor. And I think I told this story before, right? At any rate, the doctor said, Swamiji, you're just sitting around studying all the time. You've got to get some exercise. So afterwards, Prabhupada said to his disciples, the doctor's right. And then Prabhupada went to Vrindavan for 6 months of Ayurvedic treatment to recover from the stroke, and then he came back in. And the morning walk was always there. There was one other question that I had for everybody, but I decided that no, I'm not going to do that because he's going to get mad at me because we're going to run out of time. All right, so in the purport, Prabhupada makes a really powerful point. So by the grace of the personality of Godhead, not only are diseases of the body and mind cured. Diseases, anybody have any diseases of the mind here? You're admitting it. Okay, well, it's good to see. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually crazy. Don't tell anybody. But also the soul is relieved of the constant repetition of birth and death. Actually, I'd like to bring up this point. So if I go 2 minutes over, don't get mad at me, okay? I got permission now. All right. So there's a question. This was actually the first question that Maharaj Parikshit asked of Sukadeva Goswami. He actually started. He asked this question of Sutta Goswami. But then, before he got an answer, Sukadeva Goswami showed up. Avadut to the max, but effulgent to the max, and he was given the seat of honor. And so he spoke on this. What was that question? This guy has really got a good brain, I tell you.
What one should do at the time of death.
Okay.
Before.
Yeah, for one who is about to die. Okay. Is anybody here about to die? Please raise your hand. Some of you are not going to die soon, right? I mean, life goes so quickly. Here, I'll reveal. I'm 73 years old, and it went like that. I still remember when I was your age. You know, it was like so clear. So it's just boom, and it's gone. Okay, so the duty of someone who's about to die. And really, you know, and then, so what should he do? And then what shouldn't he do? Okay, two things. And this was what the second canto is all about. Well, actually, the whole Bhagavatam, pretty much. So, you're going to die. And, you know, it becomes a little more obvious when you get to be 73, because you keep getting these messages from Yamaraj. Okay, Bubba, I'm coming to get you if you don't get it together. All right, so you know, another point about, you know, I made this point about the study that Dr. Gopinath made. You know, this is pretty remarkable. He actually, as a governmental employee, he gets patients who come to him, and he gets them to chant Hare Krishna. And the government isn't disturbed by it, because he gets such amazing results. Stress is very much related to disease. Anybody notice that? When you go through a real stressful period, and then all of a sudden, you get walloped by the flu, or, you know, something heavy happens. So, chant Hare Krishna. And, you know, before you leave, because I've got a present for you. Okay, now some of you already got it, but some of you don't. But this is going to improve the qualities of your Krishna consciousness unlimitedly. All right? So just don't run out the door prematurely, okay? You have to get permission from him to leave, okay? Otherwise, you're going to be in big trouble. And he's got Mahabaho, so watch out. Okay, so then, during Prabhupada's final days, he had a medical team that came to them. They were Ayurvedic doctors. And one doctor said to Srila Prabhupada, I think there was some allopathic doctors also there. One doctor said to Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, we can't understand why you are not screaming for morphine. Everyone understood what I said? Morphine is like what kills pain. And Prabhupada, you know, he was continuing his translating throughout all of these heavy tests with his health. And Prabhupada said, Bhavosadakshtrotra manobiramat. This is my medicine. Okay, this is the second line from the 10th canto, first verse, fourth text. Nivita tarsher upagiyamanan bhavosadakshtrotra manobiramat ka uttama shloka gunanuvadat pumanvirajeta vinapashugnat. Glorification of the personality of Godhead is performed in the parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those who are no longer interested in the false glorification of this material world. Cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord, this is also what's good about all of these, learning about all these avatars, are the right medicine for the conditioned souls undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a Pashugna? Anybody any Pashugnas here? I hope not. A butcher, or one who is killing his own self. Okay? So don't kill yourself. Here are the pastimes of the Lord. Okay, so now we're... okay, here's one last shloka. Okay, this is from the Bhagavatam, 2nd chapter, 1st canto, text 10. Kamasya nandriya pritir, labo jiveta yavata, jivasya tattva jignasya, nṛṭāyasya karmavi. Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. What should we desire? You know? Wow! I'm impressed, and I could even kind of understand what you said, even though it wasn't American English. Yeah, one should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's work. So one other point that I wanted to bring up in the purport to natyasnatastu yogosti, one shouldn't eat too much or eat too little. Prabhupada quotes a famous line from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, avyarta kalatvam. Anybody know what that means? Avyarta kalatvam. He knows. Give him the mic, quick.
Don't waste your time unnecessarily.
Yeah, don't waste a second of your valuable lifetime. This is actually one of the 9 reliable symptoms of the stage of bhava. But on the Svayam sadhana platform, we can practice it. Don't space out, okay? Get it together. No prajalpa, just focus, because you're going to die, right? You're all going to die soon. You got to be prepared for life's final exam. I tell you, it's heavy. I was right with my friend, my Sankirtan partner. Okay, I got, let's see, time. Uh-oh. Which one do we follow? Let's follow that one, okay? It saves me a couple minutes. I tell you, it's an amazing test, and we need to prepare for it now. Like all the students, I'm teaching Bhakti Shastri in the Srimayapur International School, and they're in their academic exams now. Nah! It's intense. So a lot of them leave it for the last minute, the preparation. So don't leave preparation for life's final exam till you're on the deathbed, okay? You're already kind of there. Now just wake up, sleeping soul. Jeev jago, jeev jago. Okay? So any questions, comments, or chastisements? Yes, Prabhu. You are so good. After every single class, you have a question.
No, not. Prabhuji, in the beginning you told about our first priority should be, Prabhupada, even Prabhupada told also,
first health? Yeah,
first health, second is sadhana, spiritual practices, and third is the seva. Yeah, so that should be the sequence, Prabhuji?
That's the priority. That's what you give priority to, according to Srila Prabhupada.
Okay.
He did it himself. It's super regulated with health care. And as a result, he had 2 heart attacks coming across on a Jaladuta, but he kept going. But he had to be mindful of it.
Even before seva also the sadhana is more required? Even before seva?
Yeah, before seva, you got to get your sadhana. I don't even touch my mobile phone until I finish my rounds. I don't, okay, another story, okay? Forgive me. This is part of life's transformational tactics, okay? Okay, in 1975, Srila Prabhupada went to the Atlanta temple. And all of the book distributors in North America converged on the Atlanta Temple, expecting to learn from Srila Prabhupada how they could increase their book distribution. It was just, everybody went, okay, and they got, Prabhupada's darshan. And then there's one devotee, his name is Svavas Prabhu, Svavas. He's the temple president in Los Angeles. He's the longest tenured temple president in ISKCON history. He became a temple president in '87, and he's still going, okay? He asked Srila Prabhupada a question. He was a book distributor at the time. He said, Srila Prabhupada, how can we increase our desire to distribute your books? And Srila Prabhupada went into a prolonged silence, meditative silence, and looked at the ceiling. And he said, finally said, if you really want to increase book distribution, if you really want to increase book distribution, if you really want to increase book distribution, you will chant all of your rounds without stopping. You got it? Okay, so when I joined the movement in '77 in New York, there were over, I think it was about 70 or 80 brahmacharis in the Sankirtan department, including Vaisheshika. And every single brahmachari had to be up, guess what time? Anybody know? You guys know because you heard the story before. Anybody know what time they had to be up by? You know too. Okay, I told this story on the Japa walks. Everyone had to be up by 2 a.m., okay? Are the brahmacharis here doing that? These guys are. Are you? Yeah? Okay, bring the prasadam in, okay? That's right. Are you from Russia? I have mystic powers. I can tell these kind of things. And then, you know, when I joined in the 55th Street Temple, was an 11-story building in the middle of the New York City winters. It cost $50,000 to heat it. Obviously, the temple management didn't heat it. So there was actually a whole sheet of ice on the shower room wall, okay? So I would get up at 1:45 so I wouldn't get caught in the traffic jam waiting to take the shower, you know, and freeze to death. Okay, so I've been following this formula for many, many years. I was a Sankirtan leader for the first 14 years I was in the movement. Our parties did huge. And then the movement kind of crashed in the mid-'80s, and I couldn't do book distribution anymore, and everyone was sent out selling paraphernalia. So then anyway, I went on a whole campaign to get book distribution going again, and that was the magic formula. So you want to have empowered service? Chant all of your rounds without stopping. In order to do that, you got to get up early. And okay, so one other point about the sadhana. Okay, here comes the dadati pratigrinati part of the Bhagavatam class. This is my gift to you. This will transform your japa. Okay, does anybody want to have their japa transformed? Okay, now don't raise your hand if you've already got the gift, okay? Okay, you got it, Baba, okay? So, here it is. This is the cream of 18 years of japa retreats. This time I brought enough so I won't run out. And we're getting, the Russian ones should be here by Sunday. I'm giving the Sunday feast lecture at the MCS hall to the Russians. So come then and you can get a Russian version. Your English seems to be pretty good though. Okay, so this is the cream of 18 years of japa retreats with devotees like Giriraj Swami, Sachinandana Swami, Indradumna Swami. I mean, it's unbelievable, okay? I've been reading every day before I start my japa. I read one affirmation. It takes me 2 or 3 minutes. And there's 20 affirmations. If you do one a day, not only does it keep Maya away, But after 1 month's time, for the men, do you have a Sika, Prabhu? I know you do, but do you? Okay. All right. After 1 month of using this facility that Krishna so kindly bestowed upon us, your Sika will be twirling around in ecstasy. Okay? And for the Vaishnavis, your ponytails will be twirling around in ecstasy. Okay? Does it sound all right? Okay, so now, the only donation that you have to give for this, okay, it's a huge donation. It's much, much more than 1 crore rupees. You have to give your heart to Krishna, okay? But this book will help you, okay? So it's a no-lose situation. It's only win. All right, so anybody want a book? Okay, come on, Prabhu. Don't be shy. Come up and get your book. We're getting the Bangla translation. It's just there's a delay, you know. Anyway, this next week, I'm going to get in there and push it like crazy. Come on. Okay, here's one. All right, so every day now, you promise? Okay, you can't break your promise now. Anybody else want one? Okay, come on. Don't be shy. Utsaha ki jai. Okay, you want one? No, you don't want? Okay, I don't blame you. Okay, there you go, Prabhu. 1 a day now, okay? You got to do it. Every single, I'm checking on you. We'll send the Japa police after you if you don't. Okay? Go for it, brother. You want one? Come. Anybody, Vaishnavis? Don't be shy. Come on. Okay, before they run out, there you go, man. Every single day now. All right? Read 1 affirmation. It'll take you 2 or 3 minutes. Okay? And also, there's an open invitation. We have sometimes over 20 devotees going on the Japa walk every day. And, oh, man, it's incredible. Okay, every day now, Prabhu. All right, Mataji? So you're welcome to come to the Japa walk. And that begins at 5:15 in front of the Samadhi. And then we go, oh, man, it's incredible. Even, you know, probably on your first Japa walk, your Sika and ponytails will be twirling in ecstasy. Okay, there you go, Mata. Go for it. Hare Krishna. Didn't I give you one before? Okay, you want it? Okay, you're going to give another one. Okay, we do accept, you know, 1 crore donations if anybody wants to give. Okay. All right, Prabhu, go for it. There you go, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. I will take it all, don't worry. All right, thank you. All right, Prabhu, that's for you. Just one, okay? Anybody else? Okay, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 5:15, and make sure you set your alarm for 1:30, okay, so you're up by 2. No, you can set it at 2. That's good enough, all right? Any other questions or comments before we adjourn? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, if I heard properly, you said 5 crores walk, Japa walk, you said you have 5 crores.
5
that
crores.
means 10 miles, that is 16 kilometers.
Oh, yeah, the Panchakrosha Parikrama marg. Yeah, that's equivalent of about a half a Govardhan Parikrama, 12, 13 kilometers, something like that. So you go out the front gate of the main gate, and go down past the hospital, hang a left, then you keep going through past Jagai Madai Ghat, then go through Ghosh Villa, you know, where all the milkwallas live, and then keep going. You come in to Bamapakur, and you keep going, you know. Anyway, you have to go with me sometime. I don't do the whole thing now because one yoga practitioner pushed me too far in a yoga asana, broke my hip, and I had to have the hip replaced. But, you know, I can do half of it, you know. For you, I might even do the whole thing, you know. So, yeah, and I would do it every day. It'd take me 2 3/4 hours, and I'd chant like 18, 20 rounds like that, and my Sika would be twirling in ecstasy. There's an interesting quote from the Navadvita Mahatmya. This is related to the Japa walks that all of you are coming on tomorrow. I hope. Okay. that this is Navadvita Mahatmya. This is a parikrama that was conducted by Lord Nityananda with Jiva Goswami, okay? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur gave us this jewel. And he said every step in Sridham Mayapur is the equivalent of hundreds and thousands of Ashvamedha sacrifices. So it's really good for you, okay? So come. Advaitacharya, he went out preaching in Ujjain for 10 days, but he would go every day with us. So you don't have to, brahmacharis can come too, okay? It's allowed. All right, and then the second quote is that in Kali Yuga, the Shakti of Sridham Mayapur is the greatest of all the Dhams in Kali Yuga. And as Kali Yuga progresses, that Shakti increases. So it's an amazing way to experience the Shakti of Sridham Mayapur. You'll just feel your whole consciousness just becomes overwhelmed with the Shakti. You're in the Antaranga Shakti, the internal energy of the Lord. You're getting Mahaprabhu's and Nityananda Prabhu's mercy to the max. Okay? And Prabhupada's right there with you. Okay, so we'll see you tomorrow, 5:15. Don't be late, okay? No India times allowed. Hare Krishna.